and that worked. And didn't have my capture running. So this is telling us that we're able to get somewhere out to the cloud, out towards that particular, out towards the internet. We have our DNS server resolving names to us. We were able to ping it. We got out to it, and it sent the message back. So a couple of things had to happen there in order for that to work. First of all, we need to get off our local segment here. To get off this segment, which is 192.168.10.0, we had to send a message to a different network. In order to do that, we needed to correspond with our default gateway, being this router. To do that, we needed its MAC address. So part of that process was it actually sent an ARP message out. So if we do ARP-A to show this, we see that we actually ARPed for 192.168.10.254 and got this address. Let's go ahead and watch this process from the Wireshark utility here. So if I do ARP and hit enter, and I can actually delete entries in the ARP cache here. So the command to do this is ARP-D, and then with an asterisk here, or a Nathan Hale, I can delete that. So ARP-D, Nathan Hale mark, enter, deletes all the ARP entries. If you're wondering why I call it a Nathan Hale, is that because Nathan Hale in the American Revolutionary War was famous for saying, I regret that I have one life to give for my country, or to paraphrase, one ass to risk. So anyhow, that's not my joke. That was right out of Newton's Telecom Dictionary, so you can take it up with him. All right. That being said, we have a cleared ARP table. Let's start our Wireshark here again. We'll start the live capture, continue without saving. It's going. Come back over here and do that ping again. So I'll just do this. To pop up that window there, you just hit F7 within the command prompt. So go to ping, and we ping there. Head back over to Wireshark and stop the capture. All right. So we see that we got some interesting stuff coming from the switch. There's some deck mop stuff going up. That's typical of Cisco switches to send that stuff out every so often. We have a broadcast message, an ARP, and then a response. Notice that the ARP message went out. Close some of these little things here. The Ethernet 2 message went out from our MAC address going to a destination of all Fs. The message type was ARP. Notice ARP isn't part of the IP suite here because there is no layer 3 IP packet above this. It's actually specifically formatted out as an ARP message right above layer 2. It's hard to call it layer 3 because it doesn't really correspond to what would normally be considered a layer 3 message. So let's call it a layer 2.5 message. All right, so we got our Ethernet header, and then the type was ARP. So then the address resolution protocol said, we're doing Ethernet, here's the protocol. So we actually want to do this for IP. What we're requesting is, for this particular MAC address, we'd like to get this MAC address and this IP address. We don't know the target MAC address of this IP address. So this is what we're looking for. And then anybody on the network that had that IP address that opened up this Ethernet broadcast message would see this, and only the person that had this IP address or device that had this IP address should respond back. So the switch ignored it. It's got a completely different MAC address. The firewall router here saw it and said, okay, as a 2800 series router, I can respond back, and sends the message back, is what we saw with our ARP reply here. Coming from the Cisco C1 based MAC address here, we saw the ARP reply. Notice the address resolution reply here came through and basically filled out the missing information, which was replying back here, and this is my MAC address information and my IP address, and we're replying back to the workstation that sent the message. All right, so that's ARP. If we go back to the PC and I do an ARP-A, we now, no entries found. That's not normal. Let's do that ping one more time. This is a Windows box. It does discard ARP entries rather quickly. And do ARP-A. There it is. Okay, so as I mentioned, Windows boxes tend to discard their ARP cache entries much quicker than they should discard the ARP cache entries. As we saw, we saw it do the ARP reply here, and just my time it took to talk about it, Windows Box had already discarded the ARP entry. I believe there's a fast age-out timer there for certain entries if you decide not to use them quick enough. All right, so we have the ARP entry here. We can now communicate with our default gateway, which allows us to communicate off of our network, which is what happened here with the ICMP. So we actually saw the ICMP packets here as well. We sent a message out as an echo, ICMP or Internet Control Message Protocol echo request, went out, and then we got a reply back. And notice it's just reversing that. So coming from 10.1.1.2, our DNS server, and then going back to us, and again, back and forth 5 times.